Part 1, Induction. Close your eyes. Imagine cherry blossoms falling, not in spring, but in the middle of winter. White and pink petals, drifting through cold air, settling on bare branches, on dark earth, on the upturned faces of people who have forgotten what beauty looks like. This is a story about a small dog, and about the ash of a burned tree, and about what blooms when kindness is scattered on the right ground. Let the petals fall around you. Part 2, The Two Old Men. In a village between rice fields and mountains, there lived two old men. They had lived next door to each other their entire lives. They had grown up together, worked the same fields, watched the same seasons turn, but they were very different. The first old man, let's call him Yoshi, was the kind of person who made the world feel slightly warmer simply by being in it. He laughed easily. He shared what he had. He stopped to look at things, a spider's web in the morning dew, the particular color of the sky just before snow, a small dog sitting by the road looking lost. That last one is important. One winter morning, Yoshi found a small dog sitting by the road. It was thin, cold. Its fur was matted. It looked up at him with the expression that dogs have when they have been waiting a long time for something without being entirely sure what. Yoshi crouched down. The dog's tail moved. Just once, tentatively. "Come on then," Yoshi said. The dog came. His wife fed it. They gave it a name, Shiro, because of the white patch on its chest. They gave it a place by the fire. They gave it, in short, a home. The second old man, Kuro, watched this from his window. He was not cruel exactly, but he was the kind of person who kept careful track of what he had and what others had, and felt obscurely wronged when others seemed to have more. He watched Shiro with particular attention. Part 3, Shiro and the Field. Spring came. Shiro was a happy dog by then, well-fed, warm, adored. He had the particular happiness of an animal that has been rescued, that knows it has been rescued, and has decided to be grateful about it in every possible way. One morning, Shiro led Yoshi out to the field. He ran ahead, stopped, looked back, ran ahead again. The clear communication of a dog who knows exactly where it wants to go and is confident you will follow. Yoshi followed. In the middle of the field, Shiro began to dig. Yoshi watched. Shiro dug faster, his paws flying, his tail going. His whole body invested in this act of excavation, and then, from the hole, Shiro pulled something. Gold coins, old ones, covered in earth, but unmistakably gold. More of them as Yoshi reached in and scooped. More and more. Yoshi sat back on his heels. He looked at the coins in his hands. He looked at Shiro. Shiro looked back at him with the expression of a dog who has done a very good thing and knows it. Yoshi laughed. It was the laugh of a man who finds the world genuinely surprising and is delighted by this. He brought the coins home. He shared them with his wife. He set some aside for the neighbors who were struggling, and he thanked Shiro properly, with the best dinner the dog had ever eaten. Part 4. Kuro's Jealousy. Kuro heard about the coins. Of course he did. Villages are small. He came to Yoshi's house. He was polite about it. He asked if he could borrow Shiro just for the afternoon to look in his own field. Yoshi looked at Shiro. Shiro looked at Kuro with the careful assessment of a dog who has learned to read people. Shiro's tail did not move, but Yoshi was a generous man. Of course, he said. Kuro took Shiro to his field. He followed the dog, watching, waiting. Shiro walked around the field. He did not dig. He sat down. He looked at Kuro. "Dig," Kuro said. Shiro looked at him. "Dig," Kuro said again, louder. Shiro lay down. Kuro, not a patient man when he felt owed something, picked up a shovel. He would find the gold himself. He dug where the dog had sat, then somewhere else again. He dug for an hour. He found nothing. He brought Shiro back to Yoshi. He was not gracious about it. That night, Shiro was quiet. He lay by the fire, his chin on his paws, his eyes distant. Part 5. The Tree. Not long after Shiro died. He was old. It was his time. He went gently in the night, in his place by the fire, between one breath and the next. Yoshi and his wife buried him at the base of a pine tree at the edge of the garden. They cried in the quiet way that old people cry, without drama, with the weight of all the times they had been sad before behind it. "He was a good dog," his wife said. "The best," Yoshi agreed. That night, Yoshi dreamed of Shiro. In the dream, Shiro spoke. Dogs don't speak, of course, but in dreams, things are different. "Cut down the pine tree," Shiro said. "Make a mortar from the wood and a pestle. Use them to pound your rice." Yoshi woke in the dark. He lay very still, listening to his wife's breathing, feeling the weight of the dream. In the morning, he cut down the pine tree. He made a mortar and pestle from the wood. His wife used them to pound the rice, and from the mortar, with every stroke of the pestle, gold dust rose. Not a great deal, but steady, consistent, enough. Part 6. Kuro takes the mortar. Kuro heard about the mortar. He came to borrow it. Yoshi lent it. Kuro's wife pounded their rice in the mortar. Nothing came out but rice flour. Kuro was furious. He burned the mortar. He ground the pestle to splinters. He returned to his house and said nothing about it. When Yoshi came to ask for the mortar back, Kuro told him it had broken. He did not meet Yoshi's eyes when he said it. Yoshi went home. He sat for a while in his garden. He felt not angry, something quieter than that, a sadness. That night, he dreamed of Shiro again. Part 7. The Ash. "Go and get the ashes," Shiro said in the dream. "From where the mortar burned, bring them home. Keep them." Yoshi woke. He went to Kuro's yard, where the ashes of the mortar still lay in a cold pile. He filled a small bag with them. He brought them home. He wasn't sure what to do with them. He kept them in the bag, on the shelf, and waited. Winter came. One cold morning, he was walking through the village, the bag of ash in his pocket, when he passed the old cherry tree at the center of the village square. It was bare, of course. It had been bare since autumn. Its branches were dark against the white sky. Without quite knowing why, Yoshi reached into his bag. He threw a handful of ash at the tree, and the tree bloomed. Not slowly, not gradually. In an instant, in the middle of winter, on a cold gray morning, the old cherry tree burst into full, impossible bloom. White and pink blossoms everywhere. The smell of them, sweet and clean, spreading through the cold air. The people of the village stopped. They looked. They looked at each other. They looked at Yoshi. And then, slowly, they began to smile. Part 8. The Lord. Word spread, of course it did. The lord of the region heard about the old man who could make trees bloom in winter. He sent for Yoshi. Yoshi came. His bag of ash, his quiet manner, his complete lack of any desire to impress. The Lord's garden had a collection of old trees, dead-looking in winter, dark and bare. Make them bloom, the Lord said. Yoshi walked among the trees. He reached into his bag. He scattered ash gently on each one, and one by one the trees bloomed. The garden filled with color and scent. The Lord's court gathered to watch. Some of them wept from the sheer unexpected beauty of it. The Lord rewarded Yoshi richly, not because he had to, because he wanted to, because beauty, real beauty, deserves acknowledgement. Yoshi bowed. He thanked the Lord. He walked home. He put the remaining ash on his own garden trees. They bloomed too. His wife stood in the doorway, watching, her hands over her mouth. "Shiro," she said. "Shiro," Yoshi agreed. Part 9. Kuro Tries. Kuro heard about the Lord's garden. He found some ash from his own fireplace and put it in a bag. He went to the Lord's garden. He announced himself. He said he was the man who made trees bloom. The guards let him in. He went to the trees. He threw his ash. Nothing bloomed. He threw more. Still nothing. He threw the whole bag into the Lord's face as the wind shifted and was immediately deeply in trouble. He was brought before the Lord. He was not treated kindly. He went home covered in ash and shame. He sat in his house for a long time after that. He sat and thought about Shiro, about the mortar he had burned, about all the ash he had scattered that had grown nothing. And he began, slowly, to understand something. It was not the ash. It was never the ash. Part 10. What Kuro Learned. It's worth staying with Kuro for a moment, because he is not a villain. He is just a man who spent most of his life looking sideways at what others had, instead of looking forward at what he might give. He sat in his cold house. He thought about the dog he had forced to dig, about the way Shiro's tail had not moved, about the mortar he had burned in anger. He thought, I have been so busy wanting things to be different that I missed what was actually in front of me. He was not young anymore. There was not a great deal of time left to do things differently, but some. The next morning, he walked to Yoshi's house. He knocked on the door. Yoshi answered. Kuro looked at him for a moment. There were things he wanted to say, complicated things, about the mortar and the dog and the years of sideways looking. What he actually said was, I'm sorry. Yoshi looked at him. Then he opened the door wider. Come in, he said. My wife just made tea. Part 11. Spring. Spring came. The cherry tree in the village square bloomed again, in its proper season this time, with no ash required. People came to sit beneath it, to look at the blossoms, to eat their lunch in the drifting petals. Yoshi sat there sometimes, his wife beside him, a cup of tea in his hand. Sometimes Kuro sat with them. They didn't talk much, but the silence was a different kind of silence than before. Yoshi thought about Shiro sometimes, about that cold morning when a thin dog sat by the road and its tail moved. Just once, tentatively, about how much had come from that one small thing. The coins, the mortar, the ash, the blooming trees. He thought it all started with just noticing a dog that needed a home and saying yes. He sipped his tea. The blossoms fell. Part 12. Outro. The story is over now. But somewhere, in a village, a cherry tree is blooming, in the cold, in the middle of winter, impossibly, beautifully, because someone scattered the right ash in the right place at the right time. Sleep now. Let the blossoms fall around you. Let the cold air smell of spring. Shh.